இது நம்ம ஐயா கோச்சிங் சென்டர். வாங்க படிக்கலாம்.
இந்த வீடியோ உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சிருந்தா லைக் பண்ணுங்க, ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க, சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்க. Thank you.
Today let us see types of inheritance. There are two types of inheritance. One is qualitative inheritance, another one is quantitative inheritance. First we will see what is qualitative inheritance. In qualitative inheritance, a single dominant gene influences complete trait. In this qualitative inheritance, intermediate forms are not produced. It is also otherwise called as monogenic inheritance. You see the first point, a single dominant gene influences complete trait. We can take example, tall plant. When it is crossed with dwarf plant, the F1 hybrid is what? F1 hybrid is tall, hybrid tall. Again, when it is selfed, you can see when it is selfed, that's capital T small t, capital T small t, capital T capital T, capital T small t, capital T small t, small t small t. You can see here, only what is the ratio? 1:2:1 is genotypic ratio and phenotypic ratio is 3:1. Whatever it may be the ratio, you can see only tall plant and dwarf in F2 generation. There is no intermediate forms. This is the example for qualitative inheritance. You can see no intermediate character. So that is only given in the second point. Intermediate forms are not produced. So this is otherwise called as monogenic inheritance. Next one we will see quantitative inheritance. Here the full trait, that is the full character is shown when all dominant alleles are present. You see the first point here. Here even a single dominant gene can influences the trait, but here all dominant alleles are present, then only the full character is shown. Then each dominant allele express a part or a unit of trait. Then you can see here intermediate forms are not produced in quantitative inheritance, but in qualitative intermediate forms are not produced. Here intermediate forms are produced. Then you can see here polygenic inheritance or multiple factor inheritance is the other name for quantitative inheritance. You can see here qualitative is otherwise called as monogenic inheritance. Quantitative inheritance is otherwise called as polygenic inheritance or multiple factor inheritance. Before that, you must know what is meant by polygene. Polygene means dominant allele individually produces slight effect on phenotype, but in the presence of similar other dominant allele, that it controls the quantitative expression of a trait. Due to what effect? Cumulative effect. It will be clear while we are seeing the example for this polygenic inheritance. Then polygenes are otherwise called as cumulative genes. Next we will see characteristics of quantitative inheritance. The first character is one particular trait, that is one trait is controlled, determined by more than one gene, and all such genes are non-allelic. The second character is individually each gene has little effect. Individually each gene has little effect. Little effect on which one? The phenotype. Little effect on phenotype. But their combined effect is very significant. Combined effect is very significant. Then the third character is continuous variations are produced. Continuous variations are produced by the combined effect of many genes and also the environmental factors. Then the fourth one is each gene has certain amount of effect. Suppose the more the number of dominant genes, the more the characters are produced. So each gene has certain amount of effect. More the number of gene, and the more characteristics are produced. Then the fifth one. So for this reason, the quantitative inheritance is also otherwise called as polygenic inheritance. Then the fifth character is polygenic inheritance does not follow the Mendelian ratio. So the ratio of F2 generation in polygenic inheritance is, you know, the Mendelian ratio in F2 generation, that is 9:3:3:1. But it does not follow this Mendelian ratio. Instead of that, F2 generations are the ratio 1:4:6:4:1. Then the sixth point. The origin of polygenes. There must be some reason for the origin of polygenes. First one is duplication of chromosome. First reason is duplication of chromosome part. And the second reason may be polyploidy. Third may be mutation. So the reason for polygenes are these things: duplication of chromosomal part, that is polyploidy, or increase in number of chromosome. Mutation producing genes have similar effect. Then the seventh one is the characters are controlled by quantitative inheritance, or sometimes known as metric traits. That is, the traits controlled by quantitative inheritance are sometimes known as what units? Metric units. Why it is known as metric units? Because they are measured in terms, that is terms of unit of size, then height, then weight, and also number. So only it is known as metric units. Then next, F2 generation, apart from the two parental type, when two parents are crossed, apart from the two parental type, some other intermediate types are produced. Intermediate types are produced. So how intermediate types are produced? Due to blending. So it is also known as blending inheritance. So it is also otherwise known as blending inheritance. The next one, the dominant polygenic alleles which contributes to the expression of the trait are called contributing alleles. They are called as what alleles? Contributing alleles. So what is meant by contributing alleles? The dominant polygenic alleles which contributes the expression of trait. எது வந்து character express பண்றதுக்கு எந்த gene வந்து அதுல பங்கெடுக்குதோ அதுக்கு பேரு contributing alleles. And the recessive polygene alleles or recessive genes are known as non-contributing alleles. So these are the characteristics of quantitative inheritance.